when you write a nonfiction book for business growth, it should save you time in the long run, not consume more time or distract you from the revenue generating things that you do. As a matter of fact, writing a book, one of the biggest mistakes that I see is people write their book and they don't leverage their book, okay? They write the book and they don't talk about it, but they want to know why it's not selling. They write their book, but they don't repurpose it for content and instead spend all this time trying to create new content. They spend all this time working on a book and they don't use all the hard work that they put in the book in a way that actually saves them time. And so I want to break it down of how writing a book is going to save you a ton of time. And I'm going to specifically focus right here on how you're going to take your book and you are going to turn it into a content machine for you, okay? And I even got my book right here. I'm going to give you real world examples. I'm going to walk you through exactly how you can go ahead and do this. Because here's the thing. Writing a good book is going to save you time and eliminate a huge amount of stress when it comes to content creation. One thing I hear people, when they don't have a book, they say, oh gosh, I got to create content today. What am I going to talk about? How often am I going to post? What platform should I use? Where am I going to get all these ideas? How do I know it's what people actually want? Well, the truth of that matter is the minute you write a book, all of those things are solved immediately. You have the content, you know it's your best stuff, you know people want to hear it because you're writing a book on it, and you know you believe in it because it goes into a damn book. So most people think that when it comes to content, that you can't repeat your stuff. Wrong. Most people think you can't share what's in your book as its own individual piece of the content as well. Wrong. And most people think that you always have to be coming up with new ideas for content, brand new. Wrong. Because the truth of the matter is this. People need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. People need to hear things more than once. People need to see things in more than one way. Let's dig down and go even one more level. If there are people that you're worried about being like, oh, well, I already said it in my book. I don't want to repeat it on my content. Well, the truth of the matter is that if somebody's a serious person that's going to buy your stuff, they're going to need to hear it multiple times. They're going to want to hear it so many times that they believe it to be true because that's when they're going to actually hire you, right? If I just said this one time, here's how to write a book. It's in my book. Go get it. And then I made all this other content. There would even be a disconnect between the book, which job is to generate more clients, with my content. When you write a book, you save yourself time and you have the ability to leverage it for the way to teach and prime your audience. Because let's think about it. When you write a book, it's your best stuff, okay? If you look at everybody's book, typically it's 10, 15, 20 years, 50 years of life experience, of work experience. It's often your best stuff compiled into a 150-page book or however many pages it ends up being. When it comes to you being as an author, let's start thinking about this. You've likely never spent more time really focused and clear on what you want to say than in your book. When you give a one-off speech, you do a little bit of prep. When you create a piece of content, you think about it for a minute. But when you write a book, and this is what I've seen after working with hundreds and hundreds of people, people take writing a book very, very seriously. They want to spend time on it. They want to make sure that it's exactly what they want to say. It's their best stuff. So if it's your best stuff, why aren't we using it in our content? Why aren't we using it as driving our keynote speeches? Why aren't we using it as the framework for everything else that we do? Again, saving time. When you write a book, you've never been more clear. Especially if you go through our process, we're going to make sure that you're so clear on everything that you are doing here, that this is going to have an outline. This is going to have chapter outlines. This is going to have stories. This is going to have content. This is going to have teachable moments. This is going to have action exercises. All of those things are exactly what you need to create a content strategy. This is the content in your book that people are asking for. This is the content that you're already paid to teach. This is the content that people are asking for more information. Hence why it goes in your book. You know what the problems are, it's in your book. You know what the solutions are, it's in your book. You know why you're the person to teach it, it's in your book. All of those are the things that people need and want to hear in order to believe that you may have the answers to solve their problem. Plus, your book It has all your best stories from speaking. It has your best personal experiences that you've lived that are maybe being shared for the first time. It has the things you've only shared with your friends or behind closed doors in your book, because people make their book count. So now if we know this and we understand this, well, how do we take this book that we've worked really hard on, and how do we actually use it to start saving us time? Well, let's break down. And we call this the book creation to batched content. You create your book and then you have batched content. Let me break it down for you, okay? This is how you can turn this book into content over and over and over again. Now, the coolest thing about it is a book is read this way, 150 pages. Someone's going to read your book. Someone could listen to your audiobook. But your content now is short sound bites or short visuals or even long form content, breaking it all down. So let me give you an example of how this could work, and then we'll get into really how this process is done. Let's just say you wanted to create a YouTube video. Well, I have 17 chapters in this book. I can create one YouTube video on every single one of these chapters. That's 17 YouTube videos. If I post one YouTube video every other week, that's 34 weeks. That's over half the year. Done. Just from that alone, don't have to think about it again. I just go to chapter 1, boom, chapter 2, boom, chapter 3, boom, and so on. Let me give you an example of how that would work. If I went in order here, chapter 1 of this is called Your Book is the Ultimate Differentiator. I could write and do a YouTube video on Your Book is the Ultimate Differentiator. It's that straightforward. Now, would I read my book? No. I would take my book and focus on the core concepts, and then I would say it live. I would do it. I would write a little script. I'd copy and paste and make some adjustments. The content's already here. I don't have to create a whole new thing. I could take what's already written and I could share it through this vocal medium rather than through the written medium of the book. But here's how the process that I really love to use, okay? And some people are going to want to, when you create your content, some people like to go in direct order. What I like to do when I like to create content is I like to hit people at different parts of their experience, different parts of their journey, because we often, as entrepreneurs, as service providers, as people who are going business, your clients are often at different stages of their adventure, different mindsets, different actual things. For example, we have people who are listening to this right now who are very much in the beginning of their book journey. We have other people who have finished their rough draft and need to know what to do next. And we have people that have already launched their book, but they want support on how to launch and market their book to get actual results. So we have people at all different stages. And so for me, I'm not going to just do 20 pieces of content in the beginning, 20 and move on. I'm going to break it up and go in between. So here's what I like to do. This is how you go from book creation to batched content. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your book and you go to a random page. It could be any single page. Once you get to that page, you're going to stop and you're going to read a little bit on that page. Just that alone should have enough to warrant you to be able to create some form of content piece from that. Once you have that content piece created, that initial piece, then you're going to take that and you are going to repurpose it into different formats based on the different platforms. This is going to save you hours and hours and hours and hours. Okay? Watch. Let's go to a random page here. I'm just going to scroll so you can see it's in live and I have no bookmarks or nothing. This isn't predetermined. Boom. Let's stop here. Page 29. Okay? Page 29. You can see it right here. This is right here. It is called self-publishing versus traditional publishing. So I'm starting to talk about the differences of self-publishing and traditional publishing. Well, right off the bat, what I could do is I could look through this, and I know that this is a subsection that's about 2 pages of the book. That could be a long form video. I could talk about one. If I look at this, I have one difference, 2, 3-ish core things that I talk about that are different. I could say 3 massive differences between self-publishing and traditional publishing. And I can make that into a full 10-minute video that I could put on my podcast or that I could put on YouTube. But let's break it down even further. Okay, self-publishing versus traditional publishing. Okay, I have something that I believe in, which I say right here. Here's the deal. I believe there's a time and place for traditional publishing, but I believe that the majority of entrepreneurs and experts should self-publish their book. Right there, that's a quote graphic. I could take that and I could turn that into a carousel. I could turn that into a graphic. I could turn that into a B-roll footage. Already wrote it. All I'm doing is copy and pasting and then pressing publish or schedule into the social media platform. Let's go a little bit further though. What if I don't want to just do one long form piece? What if I want to do a smaller short form piece? Well, on page 29, I talk about timeline. I talk about the timeline and the difference of when you self-publish versus when you traditionally publish. And this goes for right here. I'm literally going to show you, okay? This goes right here, these two paragraphs. And so when I talk about the timeline, and I'll read you this and then I'll show you how you create this content. When you self-publish your book, you can publish it as soon as you are ready. We have worked with people who go from big idea to bestseller in as little as 4 months. Depending on your goals and strategy, this timeline could expand or contract, but the key is that you have the power to control your timeline and publish when you're ready. When it comes to traditional publishing, it takes much longer. After doing some research and talking with friends in the industry of traditionally published books, the average is about 18 to 36 months from idea to launch. So what I could do is I could take this and I could turn this into a quick reel. Here's how it would go. Let me break down the timeline difference between self-publishing your book and traditional publishing. It might be different than you think. And then I just walk through it. I could turn this into a carousel. Self-publishing versus traditional publishing timeframes. Read on. If you're thinking about which direction to choose, let me give you industry averages. Our average client, when they self-publish with us, is X time. A traditional client may take this time. Just off that alone, I've created multiple pieces of content that will help people understand that. This is 1/2 of one page in my book. Let's go to another page. 113. On page 113, I talk about different ways. I'm talking about different ways that you can use your book to generate leads. Okay, so on 113, I say, let's decide your lead magnet right now and put it all together. And I literally ask questions. I literally am asking questions of how you could figure out your lead magnet. I can literally take that and say, here's how to turn your book into a lead magnet. Boom. Here are 7 questions that you're going to want to ask yourself to create a great lead magnet from your book. Here's how to get 100 leads directly from your book today. All of those can be pieces of content. And all those pieces can be very similar, yet they're all going to be also different because your reader might need to hear it multiple different times. Do you see how once you write the book once, which contains your best stuff at the given moment that you have it, it turns into an unlimited amount of content creation? And then look, here's what's really even the most cool thing about this. Once you have it in your book's out there. And we could use it over and over and over again. But here's the cool thing. You evolve every single day. This book is almost 2 years old at this point in time. It's generated a ton of money and awareness and credibility for our business, a ton of leads. But here's what's really cool. I'm constantly learning and evolving every single day. I don't edit my book every single day. But what do? I can take this content and I can expand on it based on the knowledge that I have. So that's the beautiful thing about this. Once you write your book, it gets your ideas, your credibility, your awareness, everything up. But then you can use this to generate content. You can save yourself a ton of time, and you can ultimately create a lot of success. Now, to sum it all up, one of the things that I put in my book towards the end of it is, you're going to enjoy this, is how to turn your book into 100+ pieces of content. What do you know? This podcast episode is just another example of exactly what I did. I already wrote it. I already thought through everything. I already did the hard work. All I did now was made a podcast script and boom, we recorded it. So look, if you like this and you're realizing that a book can not only save you time and stress on your content side, but it can be used for everything that you need: credibility, lead generation, speaking engagements, more clients, higher rates, then here's what I'd encourage you to do. I'll give you a free copy of this so you could read through it and see exactly how I do it and how it relates to my content. Just go to bigideatobestseller.com/free-book and I'll give you a free copy. Just cover the shipping and we'll mail it to you right away. Again, that's bigideatobestseller.com/free-book and we'll give you a free paperback copy. We'll ship it directly to yourself. This is how you save time by writing a book, you save stress when it comes to content, and you ultimately turn your book into endless opportunities to connect with your ideal client where they need to be connected with the best information that you've ever had in a way that you're confident to share it because you already know it works. That's what I got for you today, and I'll see you on the next one.